you are watching this video, so I am sure you are excited to see what exactly are you going to build today. We are going to build a beautiful landing page of sanitizer. We have this great starting section with the navigation bar that collapses on mobile device. Below that we have stay clean section and then about us section that contain about us content in the left side, a thermometer in the middle, and our history content in the right side. As we scroll down, we notice that the background changes and we have this completely custom about us section. If we scroll even more down, you notice that we have services section where you can see sanitizing services in the left side, a sanitizer image in the middle, and our working process in the right side. Right below that, we have the CEO's word, a special section to see what the CEO says. Right below that, we have a really special section which is a full screen video where you can instantly see how you can sanitize your hand. Keep in mind, this website does not have to be just about sanitizer website. You can convert it into any other high-end business. Let's scroll a bit more down where we have the prevention section where you would find the COVID-19 prevention tips. You can see we have quite a lot of sections. The next one is the one that every business has to have, and that is the Find Us section. And finally, we are going to scroll down. You will see a custom footer where we have the subscribe to our newsletter section as well as the contact us, the logo, one more time the quote, and the working hours. This is looking great, right? And it is completely mobile responsive. It's going to work for the tablet device as well as the mobile device. I think you are going to like this project. So let's dive straight into the video. I am going to use in this course is Visual Studio Code or VS Code. Let's have a new folder on the desktop and I am going to name it sanitizer-website. Simply I am going to drag and drop this folder we just created. Now open up the terminal or you can click Ctrl backtick. To create our React application, let's type npx space create dash react dash app space dot slash. Press enter. This will only take a moment. Happy hacking, that means we are ready to go. We can run our application by running npm start. So this will launch our development server on port 3000. Alright, everything is working properly. Let's go back to our VS Code and see what we have in its folder. So here we have 3 folders, node modules, which is where we have all the third-party libraries as well as React itself. We never have to touch this. We have public folder and we have source folder. I want to go into app.js and this is the root app component and everything you can see here is coming from this component. Now I am going to delete everything inside this div, also this class name, and inside it for now let's say ready to go. Now save the changes. Back in the browser you can see the text. I am going to go ahead and clean up some things that we are not going to be using just to make it a little bit easier. So I am going to delete app.css, app.test.js, logo.svg, reportwebvitals.js, setuptest.js. Now I am going to delete them. We also need to make some changes. For example, I am going to delete these lines. Let's go into our index.js file, delete these lines, also these lines. Now save the changes. Let's go into our app.js. I am going to save it. Alright, now I am going to create a component folder inside our source folder. So components, I will have one more folder called Navbar, and also I will add a new file called navbar.js. This will be the file which we use to actually create our Navbar. Make sure you install ES7 extensions, ES7 plus React Redux React Native snippets. Now type RAFCE and press enter. It will automatically generate a functional component with the name of the file Navbar. This is amazing because it reduces your development time and it just makes everything goes a lot faster. Now if I save it, nothing's going to be happen because we just created the Navbar component but we did not put it into our application. So let's go into our app.js, and at the top I am going to import Navbar component. So import Navbar from /components/ Navbar. Now let's get rid this text and let's type Navbar self-closing tag. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, you can see the Navbar text which is coming from here. Let me look at the reference design. This is our final product. We set them side by side. Let's focus on this black area up top first. Essentially, it contains our logo in the left corner and then a few navigation links in the middle, and finally login, sign up, a vertical line, and book now links in the right corner. So let's write the HTML for that. First of all, I am going to add some images inside our source folder that we are going to be using. So let's have a folder called assets, and you can see I already added some images that we are going to be using. Below this video there is going to be a GitHub link where you will be able to find the source code and then the assets folder, so you can easily clone it or download it. So I am going to go ahead and import our logo. Below that, let's say import logo from /assets/logo.png. Now let's get rid this text, and I am going to add a class name for this div. So class name equal to Navbar. Inside it I am going to add a image tag, and that tag is going to have a source equal to logo and the word equal to, let's say, logo. Below that I will have an unordered list with those few navigation links. So UL for unordered lists. Inside it I will have each one be a list item. Now to create a link that you can click on to go to a new page or a new section, you use the A element, which stands for anchor, and the ref value is where you would go if you actually click on this link. For now I am just going to have a placeholder hashtag value, but then in between the opening and closing A tags, that's where you include the actual text that you can click on. So let's say home, and then I am just going to copy and paste that line for other links. So they were about services, prevention, and finally contact. Below that I am going to have a new div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to Navbar dash login. Inside it I am going to have an a tag, and that a tag is going to have a ref equal to, for now, hashtag, and in here let's say login slash sign up. Below that I am going to add an empty div, and that div is for the vertical line. And finally below that I am going to have one more a tag, and let's say ref equal to hashtag, and in here let's say book now. Now save the changes. So we see that we have the raw content. Now let's start worrying about the actual design. First, let's use a custom font instead of this browser default Times New Roman. Open up a new tab and go to fonts.google.com, and I am going to search for Poppins. Here is the fonts I am talking, so I am going to click on it. So here I will choose regular 400, I will choose medium, I will choose semi bold, and finally bold. Again at the top, let's go back and search for dancing script. So here is the font. I will choose 400, medium, semi bold, and bold. Now I am going to click view your selected families. Let's select this import, and I am going to copy this line. So copy, and I am going to paste it inside our index.css. So I am going to delete everything here, and I am going to paste it. Now I want to add some colors that we are going to be using. You can see that I already added some colors and fonts also. Now I want to use Poppins font and the gray color globally. So let's say body curly brackets font family var dash dash font primary, and let's say color var dash dash color dash gray. This variable is coming from here. Now save the changes. I think that looks a lot better. Let's focus on this logo image. Back to our code. Now I will add a CSS file inside our Navbar folder. So navbar.css. Let's target the logo image. So to target the logo image, we have to target this Navbar first and then the image. So now we just want to target that class of Navbar. So to target a class, you begin with a dot and then the matching name. So dot Navbar, and then space image tag curly brackets. Let's say width 60 pixel. Now if we save it, nothing's going to happen, because we did not import our navbar.css inside our navbar.js. So I am going to import navbar.css. So import /navbar.css. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now it is working. Let's look at the reference design. We notice that the top header area should have a black background color. So back to our code. Let's go into our navbar.css. So at the top, let's target the navbar class. So dot navbar curly brackets background color var dash dash color black. Now save the changes. Now we want the navigation links to sit on the same line. Let's worry about having them sit side by side. So how can we make that happen? Well, within our Navbar class, let's say display flex justify content space between, and finally align item center. Now save the changes. This is what we wanted. The logo navigation links, and these links are now sitting side by side. So essentially, when you tell a parent element to use display flex, it's going to try to align all of its direct children elements to be on a single line. Next, why don't we add a bit of horizontal padding to our black navbar? So below that, let's say padding on rem space 2 rem. In here, when you provide two values, the first is used for the vertical top and bottom, and this is used for the horizontal values. Now save the changes. Now we can focus these navigation links. To change the color of a link, you need to target them specifically instead of targeting their parent. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Okay, go ahead and give our unordered list a class name. So class name navbar dash links. Now save it. Let's go into our navbar.css, and below that let's target that class name dot navbar dash links space li space a curly brackets. Let's say color var dash dash color dash gray. Let's say margin 0 space 1 rem, and finally cursor pointer. Now save it. Okay, next let's remove the bullets. So to do that, I am going to create a new rule. Let's say dot navbar dash links curly brackets list style none. Save it. Now we want the navigation links sit on the same line. Let's worry about having them side by side. So within our navbar dash links, we can say display flex, justify content, center, and align item center. Now save the changes. Let's remove the underline. So within our a tag, we can say text decoration none. Now save it. Nice. Now let's focus on the hover effect. Let's make a new rule. I am going to copy this line and paste it below, and let's say colon hover curly brackets color var dash dash color dash white. Now save it. Let's test this out. It is working. Nice. Next, let's focus on this link. Back to our code. Below that, I'm going to add a new rule. So let's type navbar dash login curly bracket display flex align item center. Let's make a new rule navbar dash login space a curly brackets color var dash dash color dash gray text decoration none, and let's say text transform capitalize. Also I am going to copy this property and paste it over here. Now save the changes. Let me look at the reference design. Let's focus on this vertical line. So back to our code. Below this, I am going to add a new rule dot navbar dash login space div curly brackets. Give it a width of 1 pixel. Let's say height 30 pixel. Background color var dash dash color dash primary, and finally margin 0 space 1 rem. Now save the changes. Now it's looking great. Let's look at the reference design. When we shrink this menu down, we want to actually change this to be our hamburger. And if we click on this hamburger menu, you can see the close menu and the navigation links. So let's start worrying about this design. First, we need to import our hamburger menu and then the close menu. To achieve that, we have to install a third-party library named React Icons. So open up a new terminal by clicking on this plus button and then type npm I, which is short for install react-icons. Okay, now let's go into our navbar.js and at the top let's import hamburger icon. So import curly brackets gi hamburger menu from react-icons/gi. Again, let's import close icon. So import AI outline close from react-icon/ai, and then below that div, let's have a new div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to navbar dash small screen. This is going to be the navigation bar for smaller devices like tablet or mobile. Inside it, we can render that hamburger menu by saying gi hamburger menu self closing tag. It's going to have a color equal to #FFF, and it's going to have a font size equal to 27, and it's going to have an on-click property. Let's create an empty callback function. Below that hamburger menu, we can essentially just copy this list we already have and paste it over here with all of our list items. But we are gonna change some things inside of here. This is not going to be navbar links. This is going to be navbar dash small screen dash links, and then all of that is going to be in on more div. So right here we created a div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to navbar dash small screen underscore overlay space flex underscore center. Now inside of that div, we are going to have an icon which is going to be AI outline close self closing tag with a font size equal to 27. Give it a class name equal to overlay underscore close, and it's also going to have an on click which is going to be set to simply an empty callback function, at least for now. And now we can pull this menu inside of that div. Now save the changes back in the browser. Now you can see hamburger menu, close menu, and the navigation links. We don't need this part on the big screen. So what can we do? I am going to create a new rule. Let's type navbar dash small screen curly brackets display none. Now save the changes. Now we don't have that part on big screen. Let me look at the reference design, and I am going to shrink this menu down, and at this position we want this hamburger menu, and also we don't need this menu. So let's check this out. To achieve that, I am going to add media query. So media screen and max dash width 980 pixel curly brackets. Let's say navbar dash links curly brackets display none, and below that let's say navbar dash small screen curly brackets display flex. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, there we go. Now we can implement the logic for what happens once we click on this hamburger menu. So to do that, let's go into our navbar.js. We are going to add a React state right here. So const toggle menu comma set toggle menu equal to react.useState, and at the start it's going to be toggle to false. You can either use react dot to get the use state, or you can simply import from here. Let's say use state. Let's get rid this. Use state in React allow us to make some dynamic changes when you click something or depending on some kind of parameters. So in this case, the only things we have to do, if we click on the hamburger menu, we want to set toggle menu to be set to true. So in this case, the only thing we have to do, if we click on the hamburger menu, we want to set toggle menu to be set to true. And if we click right here to close it, we want to set toggle menu to be set to false. Now we only show this div if the toggle menu is set to true. So what we can do, we can say dynamic code block. In this case, if the toggle menu is set to true, we can show this div. So like this. Basically it says that if the toggle menu is set to true, in that case we can show this div. Okay, next let's add here set toggle menu true. Again here let's say set toggle menu false. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now click on the hamburger menu. Nice, it is working. Also let's click on the close menu. Very nice, it is working. Now let's focus on the actual design. Now we are trying to make this content look like this. So back to our code. Let's go into our navbar.css. Inside media query, I am going to create a new role .navbar dash small screen underscore overlay curly brackets position fixed. Let's say top 0 left 0. Give it a width of 100%. Give it a height of 100 VH. Let's say background color var dash dash color black. Transition 0.5 second is, let's say flex direction column, and finally z dash index 5. Now save the changes. Nice. Let's go into our navbar.js. You can see we added flex underscore underscore center class. So I am going to copy this class and let's go into our index.css. We want to reuse this class, so I want to put this class name inside our index.css. So type dot and I am going to paste that class curly brackets. Let's say display flex, justify content center, and finally align item center. Now save the changes. Now let's focus on this close icon. So let's go into our navbar.css, and below that I'm going to add a new rule. Let's say navbar dash small screen underscore overlay space overlay underscore close curly brackets, font size 27 pixel, color var dash dash color primary, let's say cursor pointer, let's say position absolute, top 20 pixel, and finally right 20 pixel. Now save the changes. Let's remove the buttons. So I am going to add a new rule. Let's type navbar small screen dash links curly brackets list style none. Now save it. Let's focus on these links. So below that I am going to create a new rule. Let's type navbar dash small screen dash links space li curly brackets. Let's give it a margin 2 rem, cursor pointer, let's say color var dash dash color primary, let's say font size 2 rem, text align center, and finally font family var dash dash font dash secondary. Also let's focus on hover effect. I am going to copy this class and paste it below, and then a tag colon hover curly brackets color var dash dash color gray. Now save the changes. Okay, now let's change the color and remove the underline. So I am going to copy this rule and paste it below, space a curly brackets color var dash dash color dash primary, and then text decoration none, and finally text transform capitalize. Now save it back in the browser. Now looking nice. Let me look at the reference design. If we shrink this menu down a bit, in this position we don't have the login, sign up and book now links. So we have to remove these links. So to do that, I'm going to add media query screen and max dash width 650 pixel curly brackets. Let's say navbar dash login curly brackets display none. Below that let's say navbar curly brackets padding 1 rem, and finally below that let's say navbar image tag curly brackets, let's give a width of 40 pixel. Now save the changes back in the browser. Now it is looking great on our mobile device and also our tablet, and finally on our desktop. So at this point our navbar area is complete. Next, let's focus on this area. To start creating the hero section, I am going to have a container folder inside our source folder. So container and then hero folder, and finally hero.js file. Now type RAFCE, press enter, save the changes. Let's go into our app.js. Now I am going to import hero component. So import hero from /container slash hero slash hero. Let's add hero component over here. Now save it. Back in the browser, here is our hero text. Let me look at the reference design. Essentially, it contains our info in the left side and a beautiful image in the right side. So let's start writing HTML for that. Let's go into our hero.js. First, I am going to import our images. So at the top over here, let's import welcome from assets slash welcome.png. Again, import thermometer from assets slash thermometer.svg. Now our first div is going to have a class name equal to header space wrapper space section underscore padding. We don't need this hero text anymore. Now inside of this div, I am going to add on more div, and this div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper underscore info, and just below this div we are going to have on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper underscore image. The first div is going to contain our info and the second div is going to contain our image. Okay, let me show you what I mean. If we go into our final design, you can see on the left side we have subheading, heading, some text and a beautiful button in the left side, and in the right side you can see a beautiful image. Now inside of this wrapper info div we are going to have on more div, and that's going to have an inline style. We can create inline style like this, and here we can say margin bottom on rem, and again you could use class name here, but I just wanted to show you that we can do inline style as well. Inside of this div I am going to have h4 tag, and that's going to have a class name equal to subtitle, and over here we can say stay clean. Just below this h4 tag I am going to add image tag, and that's going to have a source equal to thermometer, and then we can say word equal to thermometer image, and then the class name is going to be thermometer underscore img. Now if we save that, you will be able to see stay clean text and the thermometer image. Now we can go back to our code, and below this div we can implement h1 tag. This h1 is going to have a class name equal to title, and in here we can say cleaning and sanitizing. So I am going to copy this one and paste it over here. Just below this h1 we can add a paragraph. We can give it an inline style, and that's going to be margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 on left and right. And right inside of here we can use some generic text. So I am going to copy this text and paste it over here. Finally we can go to the button over here. So button, the type is going to be button, and the class name is going to be custom underscore button, and in here we can say get service now. Save the changes. Back in the browser, now you can see title, paragraph and the button. Next we can add the images. So I am going to add image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to welcome header underscore img. Now save the changes. Now you can see the image. Now it's time to implement our CSS. So back to our code, I am going to have a CSS file called hero.css, and I am going to import that CSS file inside our hero.js file. So import hero.css. Now save it. Now let's go into our hero.css and I am going to add a new role. Let's say header curly brackets background color var dash dash color black. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, now you can see the background color is black. Let's add a width for the thermometer image. So I am going to add a new role dot thermometer underscore img curly brackets with 45 pixel. Now save the changes. Next, let's implement our CSS again. Back to our code. We want to reuse wrapper, section padding, wrapper info and so on. So I am going to set them globally inside our index.css file. So let's type wrapper curly brackets, give it a display flex, justify content, space between, align items center, and finally min height 100 vh. Let's type the wrapper info class. So let's type wrapper underscore info curly brackets flex 1, give it a width of 100%, display flex, justify content center, align items, flex start, flex direction column. Let's style the wrapper image. So below that, let's type wrapper underscore img curly brackets. Let's say flex equal to 1 with 100%. Let's say display flex, justify content center, align item center, and finally margin left 2 rem. Now save the changes. Now you can see the changes so far. Let's add some section padding and let's fix this image. So let's fix that image first. So wrapper underscore image and then image tag curly brackets with 90%, and below that let's say section underscore padding curly brackets padding 4 rem on top and bottom and 6 rem on left and right. Now save the changes. Now it's looking nice. Let's focus on the subtitle and this title. So below that I am going to add a new rule, title curly brackets font dash family var dash dash font dash secondary, and then give it a color equal to var dash dash color dash primary, text transform capitalize, font size 80 pixel, and then letter spacing 1.5, and below that I am going to add a new rule dot subtitle curly brackets. Let's say font family var dash dash font dash secondary. Let's say color var dash dash color gray, letter spacing 1.5. Let's say text transform capitalize, and finally font size 24 pixel. Now save the changes. Now let's focus on this paragraph and this button. So let's give the style for the paragraph. Let's say letter spacing 0.65 pixel, line height 1.75, and finally font size 16 pixel. Next, let's style for the button. So I am going to create a new role. Let's say custom underscore button curly brackets font family var dash dash font secondary. Let's say background color var dash dash color secondary, give it a color var dash dash color black. Let's say font size 20 pixel, font weight 700, let's say padding 0.5 rem on top and bottom and 1.5 rem on left and right. Let's say letter spacing 0.65 pixel, line height 28 pixel, let's say border none, let's say border radius 1 pixel, outline none, cursor pointer, and finally transition all 0.2 second is. Let's focus on hover effect. So dot custom underscore button colon hover curly brackets, let's say opacity 0.7. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, now it is looking great. Hover effect is also working properly. Okay, let's see how our design look like on mobile and tablet devices. So I am going to copy this URL and let's open up a new tag by clicking this plus button and paste it over here. Let's go to inspect and I am going to click one toggle device toolbar over here. Now select iPad mini. Also I am going to copy this URL. Again open up a new tab and paste it over here. Go to inspect and let's select iPad 12 Pro. This is our mobile device. So our mobile device and tablet device is not looking great. So let's fix this. To fix this, we can add media query. So I am going to add media query for the tablet device. So media screen and max dash width 980 pixel curly brackets, let's say section underscore padding curly brackets, padding 4 rem. Below that let's say dot wrapper curly brackets flex direction column, and below that I'm going to add a new role. Let's say wrapper underscore image curly brackets margin 5 rem 0 space 0 space 0. Again let's say wrapper underscore image then image tag width 50%. Now save the changes. Now it is looking great on tablet device. Let's fix the mobile device. So again I am going to copy this line and paste it below here, and let's say 650 pixel, and inside it let's say section padding 4 rem on top and bottom and 2 rem on left and right. Let's say title font size 70 pixel, line height 85 pixel, and again let's say dot wrapper underscore image then image tag, let's say width 100%. Again I am going to copy this media query and paste it over here. We don't need this one, we don't need section padding, and here let's say 450 pixel, and let's say title font size 60 pixel and line height 70 pixel. Now save the changes. Now you can see it is looking great for the mobile device, and now our hero section is complete. Next let's focus on this area. Essentially it contains about us info in the left side, a beautiful thermometer in the middle, and our history in the right side. First let's start writing the HTML for that. Back to our code. I am going to have an about us folder inside our container folder. So about us and then about us file, about us.js file, and now let's say RAFCE, press enter. Now save it. Let's go into our app.js. I'm going to import about us component. So import about us from dot slash container slash about us slash about us. Now I am going to add this component over here. So about us self closing tag. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now you can see about us text. Back to our code. Let's go into our about us.js file. First I am going to import some images. So let's say import thermometer image from dot slash assets slash big underscore thermometer dot png. Again, let's say import thermometer from dot slash asset slash thermometer dot svg. We don't need this about us anymore. Let's give a class name to the first div right here. Let's say class name equal to bg underscore flex underscore center space section underscore padding. Inside it I am going to have on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to about us dash content space flex underscore center. Inside that div we are going to have all the content for the about us section. So let's start from the left side. So I am going to add on more div inside this div. So div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to about us dash content underscore about. Inside it we are going to have a h2 tag, and that h2 tag is going to have a class name equal to head text, and in here let's say about space us. Below that I am going to have an image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to thermometer, and let's say world equal to about underscore thermometer. Also we can give it a class name equal to thermometer underscore img. Below that image I am going to have a paragraph. We can just copy from here and paste it over here. And finally below this paragraph I am going to have a button tag. But you can see that we already created a button inside our hero section. So what can we do? We can just copy and paste it over here. So let's go into our hero.js file, and below here I am going to copy this button, and let's go into our about us.js, and over here you can just paste it, and let's say here no more. Now save it. Back in the browser. Now you can see about us text, thermometer, paragraph, and the button. Let's add the thermometer image and our history info. So below this div I am going to have on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to about us dash content underscore thermometer space flex underscore center. Inside it let's add an image tag for that thermometer. So image, and that's going to be a source equal to thermometer image, and the word let's say big thermometer. Below this div we can add our history info, but you can see that our history info is incredibly similar to about us section. So what can we do? We can just copy this div and paste it below here. Now I am going to change this about to history. Let's say here our history. Now save it back in the browser. Now you can see our raw content. Let's start implementing our CSS. Back to our code. Now I am going to have an CSS file inside our about us folder. So about us.css. Let's import this CSS file inside our about us.js file. So import /about us.css. Now save it. Let's go into our about us.css file, and I am going to create a new rule. Let's say about us dash content curly brackets with 100%. Below that I am going to create another rule. Let's say about us content underscore about curly brackets. Let's say flex 1. Give it a display flex. Let's say justify content flex int. Align items flex int. Let's say flex direction column, and text align right. Below that rule I am going to create one more rule. Let's say about us content underscore thermometer. Let's say margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 4 rem on left and right. Now save it back in the browser. Now let's focus on this big thermometer. Back to our code. I am going to create a new rule. Let's say dot about us content underscore thermometer image tag. Let's say height 650 pixel. Now save it. Let's focus our history. So I am going to create a new rule. Let's say about us dash content underscore history curly brackets. Let's say flex 1, display flex, justify content flex start. Let's say align items flex start, flex direction column, and finally text align left. Now save it back in the browser. Nice. Let's style our title about us, our history. Let me look at the reference design. You can see our style of our title, and I am going to reuse this style like here, here, and so on. So what can we do? We can add our style inside our global CSS. So let's go into our index.css, and over here let's say I am going to add a new rule, head text curly brackets. Give it a font family var dash dash font secondary. Let's say color var dash dash color dash primary. Give it a font size 65 pixel. Let's say line height 85 pixel. Letter spacing 1.5 pixel. Let's say text transform capitalize. Now save it. Now it's looking great. Let's keep some space for the paragraph on top and bottom. So let's go into our about us.css, and below that let's say dot about us dash content underscore about space p comma. Let's say about us content underscore history p curly brackets, margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right. Now save it. Now looking nice. Let me look at the reference design. You can see a background image. So let's focus on this background image. So let's go into our index.css, and below that I'm going to create a new rule, bg curly brackets, let's say background url dot slash assets slash bg dot png. Give it a background position, center, background size, cover, let's say background repeat, and finally background attachment fixed. Now save it back in the browser. Now it's looking great. Okay, now let me look at the tablet device. On our tablet device it is not looking great, so let's fix this part. So let's go into our about us.css file, and below that I am going to add a media query, screen and max dash width 980 pixel curly brackets, let's say about us dash content curly brackets flex direction column, and below that let's say about us content underscore thermometer, then image tag curly brackets, let's say height 450 pixel. Now save it. Let's go into our index.css, and below that inside here let's say dot head text, and let's say font size 45 pixel and line height 70 pixel. Now save it. Now it's looking good on our tablet device and also on our mobile device. So now our about us section is complete. Now I am going to show you one thing. Let me look at the reference design. Now if I click on any link, for example I am going to click on about link, now you can see that it's scrolling to the about us section. Again if I click on home, you can see that it's scrolling to the home section. So how can we do that? Let's go into our hero.js, give the first div an id, so id equal to, let's say home. Now I am going to copy this id. Now save it. Let's go into our navbar.js, and here the ref value equal to hashtag home. Again here let's say home. Now save it back in the browser. Now if I click on home link, it is working. Let's do that for the about link. So let's go into our about us.js, and I am going to add an id, let's say id equal to about us. Now save it. Let's go into our navbar.js, and let's say here about us, and below here let's say about us. Now save it. Let's click on about link. Now it is working, but one thing you can see that it is not scrolling smoothly. So back to our code. Let's go index.css, and here I am going to add a property name scroll behavior smooth. Now save it back in the browser. Now let's test this out. Now it is scrolling smoothly. Nice. Let me look at the tablet device. So it is not working properly, so let me check this. Let's go into our navbar.js. Let's copy this arrow function and paste it right here. Also for about, and also for services, prevention, and finally contact. Now save it. Now let's test this out. Now it is working properly. Great. Next, let me look at the reference design. Now we can focus on this area. First, I am going to create a services folder inside our container folder. So, services, then a services file, services.js file, again a CSS file, so services.css. Now let's go into our services.js file and type RAFCE, press enter. Now save it. Let's go into our app.js. I am going to import services component. So import services from .container /services/services. Below that, let's add the services component. So services, self closing tag. Now save it. Now you can see the services text. Back to our code. Let's go into our services.js file. Now I am going to import sanitizer image that we are going to be using. So at the top, let's say import sanitizer from /assets/sanitizer.png. Also let's import this CSS file. So import ./services.css. Now we are ready to start creating the JSX part. We don't need this services text anymore. If we go to our finished product, you can see above here we have services text and the thermometer image. But you can see that we already have the same style inside our hero section. So what can we do? We can just copy this and we can just paste right here. But this is not a good idea. We have another way. Okay, let me show you what we can do. Back to our code. Let's create a subheading inside our components folder. So subheading, then create a JS file. Let's say subheading.js. Also a CSS file. Let's say subheading.css. Now let's go into our subheading.js. Now type RAFCE, press enter. Now save it. Let's go into our hero.js. Now I am going to cut this div and let's go into our subheading.js. Now I am going to delete this div and paste it right here. Now we need to import this thermometer image. So let's go into our hero.js. I am going to cut this thermometer and paste it at the top. Now save it. Back to our hero.js file. Now I am going to import subheading component at the top. So let's say import subheading from ./components/subheading/subheading. Now inside this div, I am going to add subheading component. So let's say subheading self closing tag. So the reason why we have a specific component for the subheading is because we are going to reuse that across multiple sections. Whenever in React you want to reuse something across many sections in many different places, create a new component out of it. That way you would not have to write all the code every time. You will just be able to import that component. Now you can pass a specific property into it and then you can pass some values. So in this case we can pass title equal to, we can pass a string called stay clean. Now save it. Now we can get the specific property inside our subheading by writing right here props, and then we can use dynamic rendering inside of the JSX. So right here we can say curly bracket and then let's say props dot title. Now save it. Back in the browser you can see the same result. Let's go into our hero.js Now if I change here, now save it, now you can see the changes. Let's remove this, now save it. Now let's go into our services.js file. Now at the top I am going to import subheading. So import subheading from // components / subheading. Now we can start the JSX part by giving this div a class name. So class name equal to services space flex __ center space section __ padding. Also I am going to add an ID equal to services, so we can scroll to that part of the page. So let's go into our navbar.js. Right here let's say services. Also for prevention let's say prevention and contact. For the mobile device let's say services, prevention and finally contact. Now save it. Back to our services.js. Inside this div I am going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to services-title. Inside it I am going to add subheading component. So let's say subheading, and that's going to be a title equal to services. Below that I am going to add an h1 tag, and that h1 tag is going to have a class name equal to head text, and in here let's say get the best services. Now save it. Back in the browser, now you can see the services text and the thermometer just like in our hero section over here. Below this div I am going to have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to services-list. Inside it I am going to have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to services-list _ content space flex _ center. Inside it I am going to add a p tag, and that p tag is going to have a class name equal to services-list _ heading, and in here let's say sanitizing services. Below that I am going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to services _ list _ items. Now I am going to create a list item component inside our components folder. So let's say list item and then list item file. So list item.js file and then a CSS file. So list item.css. Now let's go into our list item.js file. Now type RAFCE, press enter. I am going to import this CSS file inside our list item.js file. So import /list item.css. I am going to remove this list item text, and this div is going to have a class name equal to list item. Let's add a paragraph. For now let's say title, and that paragraph is going to have a class name equal to p _ dancing. Also I am going to add another paragraph for description. For now let's say description. Now save it. Let's go into our services.js. Now I am going to import list item component, and at the top let's import list item from // components /list item. Now copy this component, and inside of this div I am going to add list item component. For now let's say title equal to title and description equal to description. Now save it. Now let's add here props so we can get that property, and right here let's say props dot title, and again here let's say props dot description. Now save it. Back in the browser, now you can see the title and description which are coming from here. In our final design, you can see we have some data for sanitizing services and the data for our working process. So I'm going to import this data. So back to our code. At the top, I'm going to import that data. You can see that I already added data for services and the processes. So let's render this data. So inside this div, let's say curly brackets services dot map and then parenthesis service comma index arrow function and then parenthesis. I am going to cut this list item and paste it right here, and in here let's say key equal to index, title equal to service dot title, and description equal to service dot description. Now save it. Now you can see our data. Let's focus on this image and on this area. So below this div I am going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to services dash list underscore img. Inside it let's add a image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to sanitizer, and the world is going to be equal to sanitizer underscore img. And now I am going to copy this div, and below that div I am going to paste right here. Let's say our working process. Also let's change these processes. Now save it. Now you can see our raw content. So let's focus on style. First of all, I want to fix this image. Back to our code. Let's go into our services.css and type services dash list underscore image curly brackets. Give it a width equal to 410 pixel. Let's say margin 0 on top and bottom and 2 rem on left and right. I am going to copy this class and paste it below. Space, let's say image tag curly brackets. Give it a width 100%. Let's say height auto. Now save it. Now our image is looking good. Let's add more CSS. I am going to add services right here curly brackets. Let's say flex direction column background var dash dash color dash black. Now save it. Now you can see our background color is black. Let's go ahead and implement the CSS for these services and the title. So below that let's say dot services dash title curly brackets margin bottom 2 rem text align center. Now save it. Now you can see our services and the title at the center position. Now we can focus on this area. So let's go ahead and implement the layout. Below that let's say services dash list curly brackets. Give it a width equal to 100%. Margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right. Let's say display flex. Justify content center align item flex start and finally flex direction row. Now save it. Now let's focus on this heading. So below that, let's say services dash list underscore heading curly brackets. Let's say font family var dash dash font secondary. Let's say color var dash dash color gray. Let's say font size 45 pixel, font weight 600, line height 55 pixel, and finally letter spacing 0.04 rem. Now save it. Now let's focus on this content. Now below that, let's say dot services dash list underscore content curly brackets. Let's say flex 1, give it a width 100%. Let's say flex direction column. Below that, let's say dot services underscore list underscore item. Let's say display flex direction column, margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right. Give it a width equal to 100%. Now save it. Now let's go into our list item.js. I am going to copy this class. Let's go into our list item.css. Now let's say dot, and I am going to paste that class curly brackets. Let's say margin 1 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right. Now save it. Again, let's go into our list item.js. I am going to copy this class name and I want to add this class name globally. So let's go into our index.css and below this p tag I am going to type dot and I am going to paste that class curly brackets. Let's say font family var dash dash font secondary. Let's say color var dash dash color secondary, font size 23 pixel. Let's say font weight 700, and finally text transform capitalize. Now save it. Back in the browser. Now it is looking great. Now we have a question, is that is this looking good on mobile devices or on for tablet? So let's check this out. On our tablet device and on our mobile device, it's not looking great. So let's go ahead and quickly fix it, as we have learned so far we can do at media query. So I am going to add media query. So back to our code, I am going to copy this class and I am going to add this class right here. We don't need this property, also we don't need this property, and let's say font size 21 pixel. I am going to copy this class and below that right here I am going to paste it, and let's say font size 19 pixel. Now save it. Let's go into our services.css. Below that right here I am going to add media queries. So media screen and max dash width semicolon 980 pixel curly brackets. Let's say services dash list curly brackets. Let's say flex direction column align item center. Let's say width 100%. Below that let's type services dash list underscore img curly brackets. Let's say margin 3 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right. Below that, let's say services dash list underscore image and then image tag curly brackets. Let's say width 75%. Now let's copy this line, and below that right here I'm going to paste it, and let's change this 650 pixel curly brackets. Let's say services dash list underscore image curly brackets. Let's say width 100%. Below that, let's say services dash list underscore heading curly brackets. Let's say font size 35 pixel, and finally line height 48 pixel. Now save it back in the browser. Now you can see it is looking great on tablet device and also on mobile device. Now let me look at the reference design, and now let's add this button. Back to our code. Let's go into our hero.js. I am going to copy this button. Let's go into our services.js, and below this div I am going to add on more div, and I am going to add inline style. So style equal to margin top equal to 15 pixel, and inside it I am going to paste that button, and in here let's say view more. Now save it back in the browser. Now you can see the button. Now we can focus on this section. I am going to close this tab, and I am going to create a CEO folder inside our container folder. So CEO and then a JS file, CEO.js. Again I am going to create a CSS file, so CEO.css. Let's go into our CEO.js file and let's type RAFCE, press enter. Now save it. Let's import CEO.css file, so import ./CEO.css. Now save it. Let's go into our app.js file. I am going to import CEO component, so import CEO from ./container/CEO/CEO, and below that right here let's say CEO self closing tag. Now save it. Now you can see CEO text. Let me look at the reference design. First of all, I want to import some images that we are going to be using. So back to our code. Let's go into our CEO.js. At the top, I am going to import that images. So import CEO from ./assets/ceo.png. Again, import code from ./assets/code.png, and finally import sign from ./assets/sign.png. We are going to use subheading, so I am going to import subheading component that we have used a few times so far. So import subheading from ./component subheading and then subheading. We don't need this CEO text anymore, and this div I am going to give it a class name. So class name equal to bg space wrapper space section underscore underscore padding. Inside it I am going to have on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper underscore img space wrapper underscore img dash reverse. Now inside of that div we are going to have our CEO images. So image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to CEO, and the world is going to be CEO underscore image. Below this div we can have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper underscore info. Then we are going to have our subheading. So subheading, and we are going to pass a title. So title equal to CEO word. Below that we can add an h1 tag, and that h1 tag is going to be a class name equal to head text, and in here let's say what we believe in. Below that h1 tag I am going to have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to CEO-content. Inside that div we are going to have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to CEO-content underscore quote. Inside it we are going to have a quote image. So image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to quote, and the word is going to be quote underscore image. We can add a paragraph right here. Simply I am going to copy this paragraph and paste it right here. Then just below this inner div we are going to create one more paragraph, and it's going to include the rest of the paragraph. So we can just copy it from here and paste it right here. Now below this div we are going to have one more div. So I am going to create a final div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to CEO-sign. Inside it I am going to add a p tag, let's say John Doe. Below that I am going to have one more p tag, and let's say CEO and founder. And finally below this p tag I am going to add a image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to sign, and the word is going to be sign underscore image. Now save the changes. Back in the browser we cannot see the images, so let's check this out. In here let's change source. Also here let's say source. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, now you can see the images. Let's start styling. Back to our code. First of all I am going to copy this class name, and I am going to add this class globally. So let's go into our index.css, and below that right here I am going to add that class. So dot, I am going to paste that class, curly brackets, let's say justify content flex dash start and margin right to rem. I am going to copy this class and inside our media query right here I am going to paste that class name, and let's change justify content center, and also I am going to remove this margin right, and let's say margin 0 0 5 rem and 0. Now save the changes. Let's go into our CEO.css. I am going to add a new rule. Let's say .ceo dash content curly brackets, let's say display flex direction column with 100%, and finally margin top 3 rem. Below that I am going to add a new rule. Let's say CEO dash content underscore quote curly brackets, let's say display flex. Below that let's say CEO content underscore quote img, give it a width 47 pixel, height 40 pixel, and finally margin 0 on top, on rem on right, on rem on bottom, and 0 rem on left. Below that, let's say CEO dash sign curly brackets, give it a width 100%. Below that, margin top 3 rem. Below that, I am going to add on new role CEO dash sign space p tag colon first dash child curly brackets. Let's say font family var dash dash font dash secondary. Let's say color var dash dash color dash primary. Font size 32 pixel, line height 40 pixel, letter spacing 0.04 em, and finally text transform capitalize. Below that role, I am going to create one more role. Let's say CEO dash sign image tag curly brackets, give it a width 200 pixel, and let's say margin top on rem. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, now it is looking great. I am going to add a media query. So media screen and max dash width 650 pixel curly brackets. Let's say CEO dash sign then image curly brackets with 80%. Now save the changes. On tablet device it is looking great, and also in mobile device it is looking great. Okay, next let's continue to the next section of our page, and that is intro. Back to our code. I am going to create a intro folder inside our container folder. So intro, then a JS file, so intro.js, and finally a CSS file, intro.css. Let's go into our intro.js and type RAFCE, press enter. I am going to import intro.css file, so import /intro.css. Now save it. Let's go into our app.js. Let's import that intro file. So import intro from .container /intro/intro. Below that, right here, let's say intro self-closing tag. Now save it. Back in the browser, now you can see intro text, which is coming from here. First of all, we are going to import two different icons. So import bs fill play fill, bs pause fill, and these icons are coming from React icons /bs. We also have to import the video itself, so we can do import video from /asset/video.mp4. So now we have everything. So we need to start creating the JSX part. We don't need this intro text anymore. Give it a class name equal to video. Inside of there, we are going to have our video. So video self-closing tag, and that video is going to have a source equal to video. And what we can do is we can add a type equal to video/mp4. Then we can say loop. We can also say controls equal to false, and finally we can say muted. Now when you work with videos in React, it also useful to give each video a ref. So ref equal to, in this case we are going to call it vidref, and we are going to say right here const vidref equal to react.useRef. So we just created a reference. If you have not used the ref before, you can hover this and see useRef returns a mutable ref object whose .current property is initialized to the past argument initial value. So ref.current is going to be this video object. Now we have our video ref. We are also going to have the use state. So let's type const play video, set play video equal to react.useState, let's say false. Just below this video we can create a new div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to video dash overlay space flex __ center. Inside of there you can have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to video dash overlay __ circle space flex __ center. We are going to also have an on click property. So right here we can say one click, and we can call handle video. Let's declare that function right here. So let's say const handle video equal to arrow function, and there we can simply say set play video, and when you want to change the state using the previous state, you need to pass a callback function inside of here where we gave previous play video. If you have not used to React a lot, this might seem a little bit weird, but if you have, then you know that if you simply want to set play video to true or false, you can do that. But if you are not changing the state using the previous version of that state, you have to create a callback function where you get that state, and then you can say not play video. That means if the video is true, we are going to toggle it off, and if it's off, we are going to toggle it on. Then we can say if play video it's set to true, in that case we can do vidref.current.pause, and then in other case, if the video is not playing, we can do vidref.current.play. The last thing we have to do is render out the button. So inside of this div we can open a new dynamic block and say if play video is true, then we can render a button called bs pause fill self closing tag like this, and then else if the video is false, we can render bs fill play fill self closing tag. We are going to set the color equal to #FFF. Also we are going to set font size equal to 30. I am going to copy this property and paste it right here. Now save the changes. We are getting error, so in here let's change const. Now save the changes. Now we are not getting any error. Back in the browser, now you can see our intro section. Let's start styling. Back to our code. Let's go into our intro.css. I am going to create a new rule. Let's say video curly brackets, give it a height equal to 100 vh. Let's say position relative. Below that I am going to create a new rule dot video and then video tag curly brackets, give it a width 100%. Let's say a height 100% and object fit cover. Below that rule, let's target .video dash overlay curly brackets. Let's say position absolute, inset 0 and background RGBA 0, 0, 0 and 0.65. And finally I am going to create one more rule. Let's say video dash overlay __ circle curly brackets. Give it a width equal to 100 pixel. Give it a height 100 pixel. Let's say border radius 50%, border 1 pixel, solid, var dash dash color dash primary, and finally cursor pointer. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now it's looking great. Let's check this out. Great, it is working properly. Let me look at the reference design. Next, let's focus on this section. Back to our code. I am going to create a prevention folder inside our container folder. So, prevention, then a prevention file. So, prevention.js, and finally a CSS file, prevention.css. Let's go into our prevention.js. Now type RAFCE, press enter. I am going to import CSS files. So import.prevention.css. Now save it. Let's go into our app.js. I am going to import prevention file. So import prevention from ./container/prevention/prevention. I am going to copy this prevention and right here let's say prevention self-closing tag. Now save the changes. You can see the prevention text. Let me look at the reference design. Now I am going to import this subtitle and this image. So let's go into our prevention.js file. At the top right here, let's import subheading from ./components/subheading/subheading. Again import prevention from ./assets/prevention.png. We can say here prevention image. Now I am going to import this data. You can see I already added prevention data. Now let's focus on this JS export. So we don't need this prevention text. First div is going to have a class name equal to bg space wrapper space section __ padding. Now if someone wants to scroll to this part of the page, I am going to add an ID equal to prevention. Inside of that div I am going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper __ info. Inside it I am going to add subheading. Let's give it a title equal to prevention. Below that I am going to add h1 tag, and that h1 tag is going to have a class name equal to head text. And in here let's say COVID-19 prevention tips. Below that we can open a dynamic block where we can render our prevention data. So in here let's say prevention data dot map parenthesis data comma index arrow function. Let's say prevention list self closing tag, and in here give it a key equal to index. Let's say data equal to data. You can see this component has not yet been defined, so just at the top right here we can create a new component called const prevention list then arrow function. You might be wondering why are we not importing this component like before we have done, and the reason is we would not be reusing it. It's going to be used only in this page. So right here I am going to create a div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to prevention dash list. Inside it I am going to add a paragraph, and that paragraph is going to have a class name equal to p__ dancing. Also I am going to add inline style color hashtag DCCA87. I am going to distract data, so let's say data title description, and in here let's say title. Below that I am going to add one more paragraph, and let's say in here description, and then below that div I am going to add a final div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper_img. Inside it I am going to add an image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to prevention image, and the word is going to be prevention_img. Now save the changes. It already looks good. Let's fix some issue. Let's change this wrapper info, wrapper__info. We can say wrapper_info. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now it looks good. Again back to our code. Let's go into our prevention.css. In here I am going to add a new rule. Let's say prevention dash list curly brackets margin top free rem. Now save it. Back in the browser. Now it's looking great. Let me look at the tablet device. It's looking great, and also at the mobile device it's also looking great. Okay, now let me look at the reference design. Now we can focus on this section. Back to our code. I am going to create a new folder inside our container folder. So let's say find us, and then a findus.js file, findus.js. Let's type RAFCE, press enter. Now save it. Let's go into app.js. I am going to import findus.js file. So import findus from /container/findus/findus. I am going to copy this findus, and right here let's say findus self closing tag. Now save the changes. Back in the browser you can see findus text. Let me look at the reference design. First of all I am going to import this subheading and this image. So back to our code. Let's go into findus.js. Right here let's import subheading from /components/subheading/subheading. Again import findus from /assets/findus.png. We don't need this anymore. Give it a class name equal to bg space wrapper space section __ padding. I'm going to add an ID so you can scroll to this part on that page. So contact, inside it I'm going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper underscore img space wrapper underscore img dash reverse. Inside this div I am going to add an image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to find us, and the world is going to be find us underscore img. Below this div I am going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper underscore info. Inside it I am going to add subheading, give it a title equal to contact. Below that let's add h1 tag, and that h1 tag is going to have a class name equal to head text. Also I am going to add an inline style, let's say margin bottom 3 rem, and in here let's say find us. Below that h1 tag I am going to have one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to wrapper dash content. Inside it I am going to add a paragraph. Let's copy this text and paste it right here. Below that I am going to add one more paragraph, and that paragraph is going to have a class name equal to p underscore underscore dancing, and I am going to add an inline style, let's say color hashtag DCCA87. Also let's say margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right, and in here let's say opening hours. Below that I am going to add one more paragraph. Let's copy this text and paste it right here, and finally below that I am going to add one more paragraph. Let's copy this text and paste it right here. Now I want to add this button, so let's go into our hero.js file, and I am going to copy this button, and below this div paste right here, and in here let's say visit us, and I am going to add an inline style, let's say margin top 2 rem. Now save the changes. Now it's looking great. Let me look at the tablet device. It's looking great, and also on mobile device it's looking great. Now let me look at the reference design. Next we can focus on this part. Back to our code. First of all I am going to create a footer folder inside our container folder. So footer, then a footer.js file and a css file, footer.css. Let's go into our footer.js and let's type RAFCE, press enter, save the changes. Let's go into our app.js. Let's import that component. So import footer from dot slash container slash footer slash footer. I'm going to copy this footer, and below that right here let's say footer self closing tag. Now save the changes. You can see footer text. Let me look at the reference design. First of all I am going to import this logo, this thermometer and these icons. So back to our code. At the top right here let's say import fi Facebook, fi Twitter icon, fi Instagram icon, and these icons are coming from React icons /fi. Below that I am going to import thermometer image. So import thermometer from asset slash thermometer dot svg. Again below that, let's import the logo. So import logo from asset slash logo dot png, and let's import the css file. So import dot slash footer dot css. We don't need this text anymore. Give it a class name equal to footer space section underscore padding. Give it a id. Let's say login. First, let's focus on this part. I'm going to create a individual component. So back to our code, I'm going to have a newsletter component inside our components folder. Let's say newsletter folder, and then a newsletter file. So newsletter.js file, and then a css file. So let's say newsletter.css. Let's go into our newsletter.js file and type RAFCE. Press enter. Now save the changes. Go back to our footer.js. I am going to import that component. So import newsletter component, and I am going to add that component right here. Newsletter and cell closing tag. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, you can see newsletter text, which is coming from newsletter.js file. At the top, I am going to import subheading. So let's say subheading from subheading. We don't need this text anymore. Give it a class name for this div. Class name equal to newsletter. Inside it, I am going to add on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to newsletter dash heading. Inside it, I am going to add that subheading, and let's say title equal to newsletter. Below that, I am going to add an h1 tag, and let's say subscribe to our newsletter, and that h1 tag is going to have a class name equal to head text. Below that, I am going to add a paragraph, and let's copy this paragraph and paste it right here. Below that div, I am going to add on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to newsletter dash input space flex underscore center. Inside it, I am going to add input field, and let's say type equal to email. Also let's say placeholder equal to enter your email address, and finally below that I am going to add a button. So let's go into our hero.js, and I am going to copy this button back to our newsletter.js file, and right here I am going to paste that button, and in here let's say subscribe. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, let's start styling. Back to our code, let's go into our newsletter.css, and right here I am going to add a new rule. So let's say dot newsletter curly brackets. Let's say padding 2 rem on top and bottom and 4 rem on left and right. Let's say border 1 pixel solid var dash dash color dash gray. Below that, I'm going to add a new rule. Let's say newsletter heading curly brackets text align center. Let's target the input field. So let's say newsletter dash input curly brackets. Let's say flex direction row margin top 3 rem. Below that, let's say newsletter dash input space input curly brackets, give it a width 620 pixel. Let's say border 1 pixel solid var dash dash color dash gray. Let's say border radius 5 pixel, give it a font size 1 rem, give it a font family var dash dash font dash base. Let's say color var dash dash color gray. Let's say outline none, margin right 2 rem, padding 0.75 rem on top and bottom, 1 rem on left and right, and finally background var dash dash color dash black. Below that, let's say a newsletter dash input space button, give it a width max dax content. Now I am going to focus on tablet device. So let's say media space screen and max dash width 980 pixel curly brackets. Let's say newsletter dash input curly brackets, give it a flex direction column, give it a width 100%. Below that, let's say newsletter input space input, let's say margin 0 on top, 0 on right, 2 rem on bottom and 0 rem on left, give it a width 100%. Now I am going to focus on mobile device, so I am going to copy this line and below that right here paste it, and let's change this 650 pixel curly brackets. Let's say newsletter curly brackets, padding 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right, border none. Now save the changes. Nothing's going to happen because we did not put our CSS file inside our newsletter.js file. So I am going to import /newsletter.css. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now it's looking good. Let's add the background color. Let's go into our newsletter.css and at the top inside .newsletter class, let's say background var dash dash color black. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now you can see the background color is black. Let me look at the reference design. Let's focus on this part. Back to our code. Let's go into our footer.js. Below that newsletter component, I am going to add on div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to footer-links. Inside it, I am going to add a inner div, and that inner div is going to have a class name equal to footer-links underscore contact. Inside it, let's add a h1 tag and let's say contact us, and that h1 tag is going to have a class name equal to footer-head text. Below that, I am going to add a paragraph. Let's copy this paragraph and paste it right here. Below that, I am going to add on more paragraph. Let's copy this number and paste it right here. Below that, I am going to add on more paragraph. Let's copy this phone number and paste it right here. Below that div, I am going to add on more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to footer-links underscore logo. Inside it, I am going to add an image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to logo, and the world is going to be footer underscore logo. Below that I am going to add a paragraph, and let's say ampersand quote semicolon, and I am going to copy this paragraph and paste it right here. Let's remove this quote, and I am going to copy this one and paste it right here. Below that I am going to create one more image tag, and that image tag is going to have a source equal to thermometer. Give it a class name equal to thermometer underscore img. I'm going to add an inline style, so style curly brackets, let's say margin top 15. Below that image tag I'm going to add one more div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to footer dash links underscore icons. Inside it I am going to add social icons, so let's say fi Facebook self closing tag. Below that let's say fi Twitter self closing tag, and finally let's say fi Instagram self closing tag. Below that div I am going to add one div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to footer dash links underscore work. Inside it I am going to add an h1 tag, and that h1 tag is going to have a class name equal to footer dash head text, and in here let's say working hours, and below that I am going to add a paragraph, and in here let's say Monday to Friday. Below that I am going to add one more paragraph, and let's copy this time and paste it right here. Let's add one more paragraph. Let's copy this paragraph and paste it right here. Let's add one more paragraph and copy this time and paste it right here. Below that div I am going to add a final div, and that div is going to have a class name equal to footer underscore copy right. Inside it I am going to add a paragraph. Let's copy this paragraph and paste it right here. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, now you can see our HTML. Let's start styling. Back to our code. Let's go into our footer.css. In here I am going to create a new role. Let's say dot footer curly brackets, give it a display flex, justify content flex start, align item center, let's say flex direction column, and finally background var dash dash color black. Below that let's target footer link class, so footer dash links curly brackets, give it a width 100%, give it a display flex, justify content space between, let's say align items flex start, margin top 5 rem, and finally padding 0 rem on top and bottom, 2 rem on left and right. Below that I am going to add a new role. Let's say footer dash links underscore contact, comma, let's say footer dash links underscore logo, comma, dot footer dash links underscore work curly brackets. Let's say flex 1, give it a margin 1 rem, and let's say text align center. Below that let's say footer dash links underscore logo space image first dash child curly brackets, give it a width 60 pixel, let's say margin bottom 0.75 rem. Below that let's say footer dash links underscore work space p colon nth dash child 2n plus 1 curly brackets, let's say margin bottom 1 rem. Below that, let's say footer dash links underscore icons, let's say margin top 0.5 rem. Let's target of our icons, so let's say footer dash links underscore icons svg, let's say color var dash dash color dash gray, give it a margin 0.5 rem, font size 24 pixel and cursor pointer. Below that, let's add a hover effect. I'm going to copy this one and paste it right here, and let's say colon hover curly brackets, give it a color var dash dash color dash primary. Let's target the head text, so let's say dot footer dash head text curly brackets, give it a font family var dash dash font dash secondary, give it a color var dash dash color gray, letter dash spacing 1.5 pixel, and let's say text transform capitalize, font size 32 pixel, line height 40 pixel, margin bottom 1 rem. Let's target copyright class, so let's say dot footer underscore copy right curly brackets, let's say margin top 3 rem. Now I am going to target tablet devices, so let's say media space screen and max dash width 980 pixel curly brackets, let's say footer dash links align items center flex direction column padding 0. Now I am going to copy these classes, and below that inside our tablet device I am going to paste that curly brackets, let's say margin 2 rem on top and bottom and 0 rem on left and right, give it a width 100%. Now I am going to target mobile device, so I am going to copy this media query and paste it right here. Let's change this one, let's say 650 pixel curly brackets, let's say footer padding 0 on top, 0 on right, 2 rem on bottom and 0 on left. Now save the changes. Now it's looking good, but we have to fix this text. So let's go into our footer.js, and I am going to cut this div, and below that div I am going to paste right here, and in here let's say 2022. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, now it's looking great. Let me look at the tablet device. On our tablet device it is not looking good. Also let me check on mobile device, and on mobile device we have to fix some issue. We don't need this one, so I'm going to remove this one and save it. Let's go into our newsletter.css, and in here let's say input. Now save the changes. Back in the browser, on our mobile device it looks great, and on our tablet device it also looks great. Okay, finally let me check the link login and sign up. If you click on login and sign up, it is not working, it is not scrolling. So let me check this out. Back to our code. Inside our components folder and inside our Navbar folder, let's go into our navbar.js, and in here let's say login. Now save the changes. Back in the browser. Now if you click on login links, it is scrolling to the contact us section. So we successfully completed our design. So if you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe our channel.